With the arrival of Smithmas, I let out a video briefly discussing a wishlist and a quick review of what each of the weapons that were on the wishlist do. There were like 16 weapons on that list, and of these weapons, I discussed a few weapons I've covered before on the show, the Babyface's blaster being the main one I can remember. But I also discussed a weapon that I do not use nearly enough, a medic medigun that I owned but didn't really use enough to warrant saying I owned, the Kritzkrieg. This is a weapon added on April 29th, 2008 in the Gold Rush update, and it became popular almost immediately. It has great potential in its usability in both regular play, competitive, and MVM. Even though I'll be covering mainly only casual play and MVM, casual coverage can carry over to competitive. Without further ado, my name is Cody, and I'm here to ask a question that I've had on my mind for quite some time. How bad could it be? The Kritzkrieg is a medigun that provides 100% crit chance to the Uber target and has a 25% plus charge rate. Although the Uber does grant critical hits at a 100% rate, it does not also provide invincibility, obviously. So the Kritzkrieg's Ubers, in a sense, are harder to place, given that if your heal target does not have any idea what they're doing, they'll likely fail you and your team by wasting all of your Uber charge on trying to kill, let's say, a single spy, leaving the heat of the battle to try and get that pesky spy. Friggin' idiot. I mean, I guess if you're in a hurry, that's pretty much the quick rundown covering what you'll mainly be using this weapon for, but if you want to spend a little more time with me, I've got a little bit more to say. The main thing you'll usually see the Kritzkrieg used for is to Uber a soldier, heavy, or demo man, as these are by all means power classes that deal a shit ton of damage out, especially the heavy and soldier. Now, the Kritzkrieg at its core is a damage output weapon to be used for, well, outputting damage. This is especially useful in a setting where a particularly stubborn team is holding a point rather intensely, and you need to mow them down more than you do need to be protected from them. First, we'll be covering the Heavy. The Heavy has always been the medic's best friend in terms of survivability. So much so, Valve gave him the sandwich to make him a little more independent from his medic friend. The Heavy does have a lot of health, but at the end of the day, he is a huge target, being fat. The medic makes his survivability a little more reasonable by giving him an overheal and a streamline of health. Let's face the facts here. Killing a Heavy being healed by a medic, it can get pretty hard. Killing a Heavy with a medic that's healing him and the medic's giving him a stream of crits, that's even harder. I mean, you can't really get all that close to him to deal a whole lot of damage to him, because he'll shred holes in you. This is especially useful in MVM to mow down the hordes of the scout bots or the bigger robot giants. You know, because Heavy deals a lot of damage at his base, but with crits, that's a whole nother story. Second on our list is Soldier. Soldier, as we all know, is just an all-around good class. There's generally no situation that a soldier can't be used in, especially when clearing points off with his barrage of rocket launchers. But I wonder what could possibly make these rocket launchers deal even more damage. Of course, the answer is the Kritzkrieg, you know, the thing we've been talking about the whole time. Soldier is so good that he is a constant meta in 6s for his sheer mobility and high damage output and easy disposal of things like scouts, and of course, you, the medic. But here we're talking about the possibility of you helping this natural enemy of yours to kill other medics and possibly heavier classes, like the Heavy? I mean, like Heavy, just using the Kritzkrieg on the soldier makes him that much more deadly, given that he doesn't rocket jump away and knows what he's doing. Again, not going into too much detail here, as the Demo Man is basically in the same regard as the Soldier in nearly all areas. To me, at least. The only true difference here is that Demo Man's explosives need to either be detonated or aimed to be really effective. But it can be, given that lots of people are grouped up. That's about all I have to say about the Demo Man, although I do feel the need to add that the Kritzkrieg is very well combined with the Demo Man in MVM, to place crit stickies for the mass hordes of medics or that one specific giant robot that might be giving you or your team some trouble. To recap everything I just said about the power classes, basically the Kritzkrieg is just amazing to use with heavier power classes that are harder to kill due to their damage output and overall decent health. Not to mention that you're healing them, so yeah, multiplying that already amazing damage output by 3 times is pretty deadly. And it's also good to mention that these classes are just ideal healing targets in general, due to the damage output that they have at their base. So I've never really covered this before, but I feel like there are a few weapons whose taunts are noteworthy. The Kritzkrieg being one of them. When you use this weapon's basic taunt, the medic takes the Kritzkrieg and takes a huge whiff of the Kritzkrieg's healing beam. This heals him for 11 health. It's not much, but it can give you a bit of survivability in the case that you're burning to death from a pyro's flames, or just need a quick health boost and some downtime between healing those sweet, sweet power classes. Seriously, can I drive into your head more that power classes are a good idea to heal? I thought this was noteworthy about the Kritzkrieg, that it is the only weapon in the entire game that I can find that counts kill assists. I found this out recently when I bought one as a sort of Christmas present to myself, a long-standing tradition to buy some weapon or item that's kind of more expensive than it should be. It's Christmas after all, I gotta spoil myself. There's not a lot I can say about this, as it is pretty self-explanatory, I think. It counts kill assists, not even assists while ubered or crits, just overall assists. At the end of the day, the Kritzkrieg is not that bad, which is probably why you'll see it fairly often, and it's pretty good in just most situations, but more so in offensive situations than a defensive. Overall, it's pretty handy to keep around for either MVM or just overall casual matches. Just keep this info I've given you in mind when you decide to use this top-shelf veteran of a medigun. My name's Cody, and I'll see you next time.